thank you a lot for joining and welcome to today's session of the T-Cloud Public Community Webinar. Today we have two nice speakers with us. At one hand, Tino, at the other hand, Roman. So let's hand over at first then to Tino. Thank you a lot for having you here, and let's have a great webinar all together. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the introduction, and also a warm, sunny welcome, at least from my side, from my location, for today's webinar, where we want to show you the new management and network services. Where are we? So I brought with me Roman as the product manager for the network side, and I am Tino, the product manager for the security services. I not only updated my photo, but also my name in previous webinars. You have known me as Tino Fenle. I changed my name, and during my wedding, I also did some photos and changed my old picture, which was a few years old. What do we want to talk about? We have three services which we want to show you today, to introduce you to. We have the Enterprise Project Management Service called EPS in short, which I will show you. Afterwards, I will hand over to Roman for Cloud Connect, CC, and for the Enterprise Switch, ES. So let's start with the first one, the Enterprise Project Management Service, short for EPS. Based on our roadmap, if you have visited recently, you saw we had some item called the Enterprise Project Management Service, with the description that's a new service to create multi-region projects for authorization purposes. I want now to bring you the service a bit more nearer to show you what you can do with this service. First of all, I want to explain the structure we currently have to introduce the new structure. Currently, for authorization purposes, you use, of course, IAM, Identity and Access Management, and you have as a first beginning, as a broad, let's say, border, the tenant. So the tenant includes everything you have. And the tenant is spreading across multiple regions. So currently Germany and Netherlands. Here it's called just region A and B. And when you create a project in IAM, this project is basically tied to region. So you can create one or multiple projects per region, and then you place basically the resource, the project, and then you authorize access to this project. But like I said, the project is bound to region. What we now introduce with EPS are basically cross-region or multi-region projects, meaning, like you see in the picture, when you create a project, it is independent from the region, and you can place resources directly inside the project, independently of the region, and you can also move resources between projects. That's basically the main use case of the service, or the main change or difference between identity and access management. So I want to give you an example how the service works. Here's again the overview of the tenant. I have both regions, and I have two projects. Like I said, you place the resources in the project. In this case, in this example, I use Key Management Service, KMS. It works with the resources, with the keys. So I have now 3 keys in this example. I have 2 in project 1 and 1 in project 2. Then I use IAM, Identity Access Management, to also authorize access to the enterprise projects. Basically, with that one, I can control, I will show it in a few minutes, access to the project. What you can see here on the right side, when I'm logged in as the user who has been granted permissions, on the top, you see I'm logged in and basically browsing the UNL region. In this example, you can see based on the quota, you can create 100 KMS keys, and you see only 1, but you can create 93 more keys, meaning there are 6 keys created or inside this region, which you cannot see because they're not inside this project, so you don't have permission to see them. Below, for example, you have 2 keys, which you can see, which are placed in different enterprise projects. You can see EPS keys and a project I called Tino Test, which you can see and where you can then have access to. This is basically displaying then the German region. I've also created a blog post with a more detailed description of how I set this up. But as we are here in the webinar, I want to show it basically live, how the service is working and how you use it. Basically, now I'm logged into our system and browsing the Enterprise Project Management service. Once this service is released, you will see here in the menu under Management and Deployment a link. As the service is not yet released, it's not available for you. It's whitelisted on my tenant. Basically, here you can see an overview of all the projects you have. You can click on the project, and then you can, first of all, search or browse for resources which are inside the project. And on the bottom, you can add resources to the project. Basically, if I select all resources from all regions, I did this already because it takes a while to search. You basically search the whole tenant across everything for all resources which are attached to this project. In this example, I have the project EPS Keys. Inside this project, I have multiple resources. For example, for KMS, I have 3 keys. I also have a security group, a VPC, and also an instance of a dedicated WAF. So you can see you can place different resources from different services inside the project on the German and on the Netherlands region. How do you do that? If I go back, you have the button permissions. Basically, it's just referring you to ERM because you do the whole permission thing in ERM. On permissions, you can also basically see the same. You can either authorize the user or authorize the user group. Usually, you do it with user groups. So what you do is, if I click on it, you are directed to the user groups. I've created a user group for this example. In this user group, I have one user. I just called it EPS Showcase. And this user group has, like I said, a user and permissions with a scope. What you directly see is this user apparently has no permissions. That is because it is now displaying 2 types of permissions. So you can authorize via an ERM project like you're used to in the past. And now you are able to also authorize via enterprise project. Basically, I have, in this case, attached a default policy, so KMS CMK full access. It's basically giving, if I click on it, the complete KMS stack on actions to allow. So you can basically do everything on KMS. If you would attach that to basically all projects or to basically the entire tenant, you can do everything with all keys. If I now go back to the user group, like I said, I have this one. When you now go to authorize and want to give access to the project, you select as usual your policy. For example, this one, which can do everything. Click on next, and now you also have again a new point. You can not only give access to everything which you have or to specific region specific projects. You can also now authorize enterprise projects, and you can select, for example, EPS keys, and then you give access to everything which is inside your project. Like I said, in this project here, I have 2 keys where I have given access to. Now I want to show you how it looks like if you are the user which has been authorized. I also have prepared this already. With this user, let me go back to the home page and to the German region. This is the user I have logged in with. This user has now KMS administrator permissions, but only to selected projects. So if I go, for example, I don't know, to ERM, of course, I cannot do anything because I'm only KMS administrator. If I'm going to KMS, I get a message already that there's a permission error. That's on purpose because I cannot see all keys. In this example, I've created now a few more keys. In the meantime, I have 89 more keys I can create. So there are 11 keys existing. I can only see one. That is the key which is placed inside my EPS keys project. The same goes for E1L. I can only see one key which is placed inside my project. What I can do, I can create a key, And when I create a key, I can only place it inside my project where I have permissions to. So basically, you create a space where the user can do everything what he wants, but only inside this project, independent if it's now German or Netherlands region. So just to compare, if I go back to EUDE, I can see only one key. If I go back to my administrator, I go back to KMS, I can see on EUDE region, I have a lot of keys. But with the other ones, other one user, I can only see this one key, which is placed inside this project. That has a lot of benefits. For example, I don't need to create a policy, a EM policy restricting access to one specific key, search for the ID, and so on. I go to the project, and I say, okay, I have now these resources inside. I click on Add. For example, I search for the service, in this case EMS, KMS. I can see all keys I have. I can click on them and I can say, okay, please add this one to any project. In this case, for example, my project. And then I have directly permissions to all resources in this project. That's basically the use case of EPS. I hope it gave you some kind of insight how to use it and for what purposes. So let me come back to my slides. I've given you some ideas in the live demo. Additionally, I want to give you some important info, which you may have seen. When we released services, you will have some new screen on the UI. So for each integrated resource or service, when you create a resource, you need to select an enterprise project where you store the resource. Currently, it's all in the default project and basically hidden. Once we release it, you can now select to place it either in the default one, so that won't change anything, or you create new projects and place the resources which you create in new projects. Or you can also move existing resources, which are now in the default project, into new project. So this screen you will see then basically for all services in the future. We will also start with a baseline set of connected services. You can see an overview on German and Netherlands region which services have been integrated to EPS and where you can place resources inside the project to authorize them. We have a few more already on the German region than on the UNL side, but this will be on par over time. So we start now with a baseline set and we are enhancing the list with more and more services over time. So let me wrap up. What are some key takeaways you should take with you? So EPS is a service for cross-regional projects. You can easily add, delete, or move resources out of a project, and you give permissions to these resources inside the project with ERM. On the GUI side, you will get a new section for resource creation, where you need to select an EPS project. On the UI side, API side, it's optional, so there should not be any conflict with existing Terraform scripts. Of course, there are APIs for EPS which are released in core, so it's not only a UI service. Integrations, like I said, we start with a baseline set. More and more services will come over time. Some constraints where we start with. You can currently not delete projects, but you can remove resources from a project to remove the resources, and you can currently create up to 100 resource projects. So I guess the quota is quite high to just move resources to another project if you do not have enough projects or want to use a project not any longer. When we provide this feature to delete projects, and have basically the complete feature set, we will also then start creating the Terraform provider and provide it to you with the full feature set. We want to release the service basically in course of the next week, because next week's, so basically somewhere in March, because it's in a quite good shape to start with the basic sets, like I said, and the service will be free of charge. Basically, that's the wrap up for the EPS. And then I would say I would like to hand over to Roman, who will show you firstly Cloud Connect and then the Enterprise Switch.
Thank you very much, Timo. First of all, also a heartfelt welcome from my side to this webinar. Today I brought with me, as Tino and Stefan already teasered, two new services, Cloud Connect and Enterprise Switch. Let's start with the Cloud Connect. So, what is Cloud Connect? Basically, it's a really simple service, but I think it's really useful. Cloud Connect enables a redundant connection between EUDE and EUNL. So it's a dedicated line that we have between our data centers in EUNL and EUDE in Amsterdam and Magdeburg-Bire. And you as customer can now use this Cloud Connect to send basically your data or your network traffic between those two data centers. So basically, what are the advantages of the Cloud Connect? So it's a dedicated connection. Before you had, if you wanted to connect between both regions, you had to basically order yourself a direct connect or use the enterprise VPN to create a connection between your VPCs. The Cloud Connect offers flexible bandwidth. You also pay as you go, so only as long as you use it, you pay for it. It enables geo-redundant networking, so you are able to work more geo-redundantly. Connection between regions is now established in minutes or more seconds than minutes, but and you can use it for as a high performance line between both regions. Also, what's quite cool about the service is that you can use the Cloud Connect to connect your on-premise data center to one of both regions, and from this region you can connect further to the other region. So you only need basically a direct connect or enterprise VPN from your on-premise data center to the VPC of one of both regions. I connected it in this example to EUDE, but it could also be to EUNL. The pricing. You can choose your bandwidth freely, so you can start as small as 1 or 2 Mbits, I think, and scale up your bandwidth as you need it. It's completely flexible and open to the top, so you can choose as much as you need. You only pay for the time used and pay as you go. And basically, it's a simple formula how the pricing is calculated for the Cloud Connect. So you take the bandwidth in Mbits that you used, multiply it with 0.0028 euros, and multiply this with the hours used. So this would basically be, if you use it for a whole month, the hours used would be 720. If you use, let's say, 100 Mbit, you would multiply 100 with the 0.0028 times 720 to get your monthly price of the Cloud Connect. So it's more simple than the formula makes it look. When will the Cloud Connect be available? We will start with the Cloud Connect with a public beta at the beginning of Q2 this year. So keep eye open for release notes and so on. We will start very soon. The other new product that I brought with you today is the Enterprise Switch. The Enterprise Switch, as maybe if you already took a look at our release notes, you have seen that it is live since Tuesday and available as a public beta. And today I want to bring it a little bit further to explain to you what the Enterprise Switch does. So, what does the Enterprise Switch? So basically, the enterprise switch enables a layer 2 connection via direct connect or enterprise VPN. Normally, the direct connect or the enterprise VPN only supported a layer 3 connection, and with enterprise switch, it's able to do a layer 2 tunnel via those services. This allows you to migrate your workloads more easily than before from your on-premise data center to the T-Cloud public, because you can migrate your workloads without changing subnets or the IP addresses. So you can see here the quite normal setup and how to connect your on-premise data center with your routing device and your normal layer 3 connection via direct connect or VPN. And basically, we have the enterprise switch between the direct connect and the VPN and the VPC, and it connects a layer 2 tunnel to your data center to a VXLAN switch that you need on your side. And as you can see down here, the subnets are then allowed to overlap for this case. What are the restrictions of normal layer 3 connections? Traditional connections between on-premise data centers and the T-Cloud public via direct connect and enterprise VPN bring some restrictions. The network migration could only be on a subnet level. The cloud and on-premise subnets were not allowed to overlap, so this made it more complicated if you wanted to use the same subnets and so on. And cloud and on-premise couldn't communicate with each other when the subnets were overlapping. Advantages of the layer 2 connection. So with the layer 2 connection, you are able to migrate your workloads at the computing resource level. You can, while you are migrating, you don't need to change the IP addresses of your computing resources, and the subnets between on-premise and cloud are allowed to overlap in this case. So this makes your migration much more easy. The enterprise switch basically comes in 3 flavors. We offer there small, medium, and large. They differ in what they offer. So the maximum bandwidth differs for each flavor, and the number of subnets you are able to connect is also overlapping or is different between the flavors there. They also have a difference in the packages per second that they can receive and send, but this information you can see in our help center. Requisites of the enterprise switch. So the enterprise switch can basically create it in 4 easy steps. So first you have to create an enterprise VPN or direct connect connection. Then you have to create the enterprise switch, and then you will configure a layer 2 connection. After that, so until this step to create the layer 2 connection, you will stay on OTC. For the last step, you have to configure the VXLAN switch on your side in your data center, and a list of compatible VXLAN switches can be found in our help center. Also, the presentation will be uploaded later, so you can find this in our help center. Now I want to give you a quick live demo for what I can do with it. So basically I am able to show you a demonstration on how to do the first 3 steps. I am sadly not able to show you the 4th step, as I don't have the VXLAN switch available that I could configure or send. So we will at least show you on how to create the layer 2 connection. So first of all, we will because it takes some seconds until it's created, we will create an enterprise switch. and then I will show you. So basically, we go into the enterprise switch and create an enterprise switch. Then we have to select our region. At the moment, it's only available in UD. You have to get your active AC and your standby AC, and then you can select between your flavors. We will, for this case, select the basic flavor, and as you also can see, we have here the different amounts of packages per second that the enterprise switch can handle for the different flavors, and so you have already also here an overview. Then we will go to select our VPC. This one is already the correct selected for this case. Then we need to select our tunnel subnet. This one is in this case already the correct one. Automatically select IP addresses is also correct, and then will give it a name. In this case webinar, and then we will click into next and submit. So this will take a few seconds, so I'll show you what I have already configured in advance. And this is the VPN in this case. As you can see, I've created a VPN gateway. Then the enterprise, I configured the customer gateway, and I did a connection to the EUNL in this case, where we have a standby connection and active connection. So let's also look on how it looks in EUNL, virtual private network. Select the right project, and then we have here our connection that we did to EUDE. Now we select also here our local gateway. We will need that in the next step for the enterprise switch, and then we go back to the enterprise switch. The enterprise switch is still creating, so this will take a few more seconds, but it should be over quite fast. As you also, if we can look into the process flow while it's creating, you also have here the process flow on how to create the enterprise switch connection, where you create first a direct connect or VPN connection. This is the thing I did in advance. Then you create the enterprise switch. Then you create a layer 2 connection. This is the step that we can do here. And in the end, you have to configure your remote tunnel on your VXLAN switch yourself. And this information you can find in the help center. So we are here still at 74%. It shouldn't take much longer. But yeah, let's wait a second. Also, as a quite useful information, at the moment, the enterprise switch, although it released on Tuesday, it is still in a public beta, so be aware that some bugs could be still included. So we are always grateful if you inform us about them. But in the meantime, while we are in the public beta, because the product is free, so at the moment the enterprise switch is free of charge for you. It's still loading. Go. But now I jumped one further. Nearly done. Wonderful. Now, as you can see, the enterprise switch is online. Now as you can see, we already did the first two steps, and now we click on Create Connection. There we need to the layer 2 subnet that we want to connect. There we choose the local subnet. No, we have to create one. It has to be the same as we want to in our EUNL. No. I don't want. Select here our webinar subnet, and now we have to put in here our tunnel IP address. This is in this case our local gateway. If we copy it, it's better. Come on. It doesn't want to copy it because I copied the wrong one. That makes sense. We want to copy the local gateway, and then we can already click at create. So this connection will now obviously fail as we didn't do the last step of if you show the process flow, we have now created the layer 2 connection. This will fail, but now you would have to configure your remote tunnel. You can find the next a comprehensive manual on how to configure your VXLAN switch in our help center. Okay, then this was the live demo. As I already said, the enterprise switch is available now. It's a free public beta. Feel free to test it out and to give us feedback. We didn't want to let you wait any longer for this product. Now I'm finished with my part.
Okay, then I think we are at the end of our session. Thank you a lot for everyone who has joined today, and see you again in the next webinar. The most up-to-date information you will find in our T-Cloud public community portal. So if you did not already register there, please use the chance, register yourself, then you always are up to date whenever we have there some news to publish. So thanks one more time, Tino. Thanks one more time, Roman. And see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.